Okay, Be'ezat Hashem, Naaseh v'Natzliach. I want to welcome you to another session of the Lighthouse Project as we continue our learning in person. Baruch Hashem, we're back in the space. Tonight is Rosh Chodesh Adar Aleph, and you know what that means. As soon as Adar enters, we increase our happiness. And how do we do that? We start off with Mishe Nichnas Adar. Marbi besimcha. Ay ay ay. Mishe Nichnas Adar. Marbi besimcha. Mishe Nichnas Adar. Marbi besimcha. That's what it is. That's how we start the month, with joy and happiness.
So beautiful.
Now, in order to understand this song, when Adar enters, Marbim Besimcha, we increase our happiness. In order to understand even this song or the deeper meaning to this Torah concept, we need some background. Because sometimes we say things in rote. It's just like so basic, like we will sing the song 100 times this month, and we won't even understand what it's all about. What's Mishenichnas Adar Marbim Besimcha? Now, in order to understand this, we need to get some background. First, let's start learning about the months. This is always an interesting subject. Every single month has a spiritual energy. And this is a spiritual energy that we want to tap into. Sometimes it's positive and we want to get plugged into it in order to draw the abundance into our life. And sometimes it's a negative energy where we back up away from it. So sometimes we play offense, sometimes we play defense, depending on what type of energy is available to us during the year. And knowing the spiritual energy of every month, it helps us navigate our spiritual journey throughout the year. Anybody who's into his ruchaniyut, anybody who's trying to tap into their spirituality, it's always good to have a nice map to know what to work on every single month, what to go for and what to avoid. As a matter of fact, if you want to see a spiritual map of the entire year, we can start from the beginning of the year. Now, of course, there's the opinion that the beginning of the year is Nisan, or the beginning of the year is Tishrei, but for our, for the purpose of this class, we're going to start with Tishrei. So we know that the beginning of the year is Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev. The first 3 months, those are months that belong to Yaakov. There was a battle between Yaakov and his evil twin brother Esav on who's going to control the months of the year. Tishrei, Cheshvan, and Kislev belong to Yaakov. Tevet and half of Shvat belongs to Esav. Remember, what's a famous holiday of Shvat? Tu B'Shvat, right? It's from Tu B'Shvat and on is Yaakov. From Tu B'Shvat and before that belongs to Esav. Furthermore, if we continue from Tu B'Shvat, which is the second part of Shvat that belongs to Yaakov, it continues with Shvat, Tu B'Shvat, Adar, Nisan, Iyar, and Sivan, which are also in the portion of Yaakov. And we know that Adar is a lucky month. We know that Nisan is also a month of miracles. Iyar is a month of healing. Sivan is the month of the receiving of the Torah. So we've entered an auspicious time of good, positive, healthy, spiritual energy for the Jewish people. And right after Sivan, we go back to Tammuz, Av, and Elul, which belong to Esav. Tammuz, we know, is a very bad month, the destruction of the temple. We had over there also Chet HaMiraglim, Chet HaEgel, also with Av, with Tisha B'Av. And even though that Elul belonged to Esav, there was a fight between Yaakov and Esav's angel. And during that fight, he was also able to bring back Elul. So Elul, which is a very strong month for us as far as the month of Teshuvah, still belongs to us. So to summarize, we have Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, that is Yaakov. That's ours. That's the high holiday season. We can see how that's a good thing for us, right? Then we have Tevet, which is right after the holiday season. We know right after the holiday season, there's a little bit of a dip. We always feel like it's a spiritual darkness, like Mar Cheshvan. It's the bitter month of Cheshvan because there's no holidays over there. And half of Shvat belongs to Esav. And then once again, it picks up our energy again. Half month of Tu B'Shvat, right? From there on. And Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan is Yaakov. Tammuz and Av, Esav. And back again, Elul is Yaakov. So where are we now in this spiritual map? We've entered the month of Adar. Now, before we discuss the month of Adar, before we discuss the day that we've just entered tonight, let's start from the beginning of when the energy starts to shift in our direction, in our favor. The spiritual shift from the negative months, from the dark months, from the months that belong to Esav, is up until Tu B'Shvat. What I want you to do is take the month of Shvat and imagine it as a big circle. We've said this in previous classes. I'll repeat it again. Are you guys familiar with the ancient sign of the yin yang? Have you seen the circle of the yin yang? Black on one side, white on one side, small little white circle in the black, and small little black circle in the white, and then there's a line in the middle, right? So you have to imagine it like that. The black side of Shvat, that belongs to Esav. The white side of Shvat, that belongs to Yaakov. That's for us. The line in the middle is Tu B'Shvat. That's the day. That's exactly the day where the spiritual energy shifts and starts to become in our favor. Now, the Bnei Sachar says something incredible about this month and about the spiritual shift of the month of Shabbat. And I understand that we're talking about the month of Adar, but in order to appreciate the month that we're in, you have to understand the 2 weeks that just passed. Okay? Take a look at this. Incredible. Bnei Sachar, in his famous book that talks about that talks about every single month, in the Ma'amar about the month of Shvat, the month that just passed. Look what it says over here. Ki mazal delihu. The month of Shvat has the zodiac sign of Dli. Dli means bucket. Oh, what is the month of Shabbat in
Aquarius.
In English? Aquarius. Okay, so it has to do with water. Ki mazal delihu mazal Yisrael. He says that the month of Aquarius, the zodiac sign of Aquarius, is the zodiac sign for the Jewish people. How could that be? But we're already established and we know that the Jewish people are above the zodiac. They don't have a zodiac sign. They're not controlled by the zodiac sign. So how can he tell me that one of the zodiac signs actually belongs to them, which is Aquarius? So it continues to, as it's stated in Masechet Shabbat on the 156th page on the first side. And Mazal Yisrael, the Jewish people don't have a zodiac sign, don't have, they're above the luck, they're above the zodiac sign. Why? Because we are in the hands of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We're not in the hands of the zodiac, or the hands of the stars. So how could that be? Hainu, שישראל על ידי מעשיהם בתורה הופכים שפיטת המזל לכל אשר יחפוצו. אבל על כל פנים בתולדה יש להם מזל. It says, yes, of course, the Jewish people have the power to be above the stars, to be above the zodiac. However, regardless, within the zodiac sign, there is one sign that corresponds to the Jewish people, that belongs to the Jewish people. And which one is it? Aquarius. Mazal Deli. As it says in the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, it straight out says that the zodiac sign of the Jewish people is the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Why? Because the sign has, if you ever saw the zodiac sign of Aquarius, it's a bucket of water that you see that it's actually pouring the water out, right? So it says that the function of the function of a bucket is to draw water, and after you draw water, what do? You pour it out. And we see that the whole purpose of the bucket is to serve the water. And what do we know about water? En mayim el Torah. Every time you see the word water, understands that you can correlate it, that you make a connection to Torah. So if the look of the Jewish people is the Aquarius, which is the image of the bucket, what's its purpose? To draw Torah and to teach it to others. To draw Torah and to teach it to others. As the pasuk in Yeshaya says, Hoy kol tzameh lechu lamayim. Anybody who's thirsty, go to the water. In other words, anybody who wants to learn Torah, go to the Torah and learn. In other words, why is this specific zodiac sign correlated to the Jewish people? Because just like the dli, just like the bucket is like a servant of the water, all it does is it draws the water, it serves it by picking it up, and then serves it by pouring it out. Similarly is the Jewish people. They are the servants that service the Torah. They draw the Torah and they teach it. They draw the Torah and they teach it. And what does that do? And when the Jewish people partake in learning Torah and performing mitzvot, everything turns upside down for the better. Everything turns upside down for the good. And whatever they want, they are able to tilt the luck. They're able to tilt the zodiac in their favor. Why? Because the actual zodiac sign that they represent is actually a servant who serves. Just like the Jewish people are servants that service the Torah. So by performing that, learning Torah and passing it on to others, you're able to actually control the luck, control the zodiac, and to shift it in our favor. So that was the luck, that was the spiritual energy of the last 2 weeks of last month. You have to understand, that was the beginning, right? The last 2 weeks of last month, that was the spiritual energy that was in the world.
I can feel it.
Huh?
You have to feel it? You have to feel it?
You don't have to feel it, you have to know about it. Once you know about it, you can draw it into your life. If you don't know about it, then you're clueless. That's why you have to learn. When you learn, you find out what's going on, and then you can tap into it. That's the whole beauty about it. That's why learning is so important. When you learn, you get knowledge. When you're knowledge is everything. Yeah, knowledge is power. There's definitely, because right now you can actually start focusing your prayers, your actions towards drawing the spiritual energy that's available because you know about it. But when you don't know it's there, then what do? You ignore it, or it ignores you. Either or. So just a small little thing to strengthen the idea of why Aquarius, Dli, Mazal Deli, is the Mazal that is connected to the Jewish people. We're just going to do a small little midrash. Not a small midrash, the Bnei Sachar says over here that Avraham Avinu had a servant. Who was the servant of Avraham Avinu? You guys know what his name was? Eliezer. And what does the pasuk say about Eliezer? Uven meshek beti hu damesek Eliezer. That was the pasuk that says. By why the rabbis, the Mefarshim ask, why is he called damesek Eliezer? Why does the pasuk use these actual words? Because Eliezer was described as dole umashke miturat habo la'acharim. He used to draw Torah learning from his master, Avraham Avinu, and he would teach other people the Torah of his master. That was the whole job, the whole character, the whole essence of Eliezer, the servant of Avraham. However, so just like Eliezer was the servant of Avraham, just like the zodiac sign, the Aquarius, Mazal Dli, is also a servant to the water, a servant to the Torah. This is why, if you pay attention to the story involving Eliezer, what was it? We see that he had an extreme good fortune when he went out on the mission that his master sent him out. What was the mission that Eliezer had? Go find a wife for my son. Eliezer had to go find a wife for Yitzhak. Do you guys remember the scenario? I'll remind you. It says over there that he was sent out to bring a zivug to Yitzhak, and from this specific zivug is going to be the beginning, the offspring of the holy nation of Israel, which their zodiac sign is going to be the Dili. And which we know the Dili, the bucket, is the one that serves the water, and there's no water, rather it's Torah. And who is the actual servant that does it? Eliezer, whose true character in essence is what? Is to draw Torah from his master and teach it to others. However, just when you think, oh yeah, because Eliezer had the same characters as a bucket, that he drew Torah and it drew water and poured out, drew Torah and taught it, what happened to the bride-to-be? והיה הנערה אומר אליה התינא חדך ואמרה שתה היא האישה שהוכיח השם לבן אדוני. What was the whole signs that he said? That she's going to draw water and she's going to give me water, and that's going to be the sign. Interesting, because we know that Avraham Avinu, he was the beginning of the Jewish nation. In order to have a continuation of Avraham Avinu, he had to have a child. And that child had to have children. Again, we're trying to get to the 12 tribes. So when Eliezer, who was the servant, who was trying to find the beginning of the Jewish nation, his character was like the Dili. And the bride-to-be also, what was the signs? That she would draw water also as well, and she would give it to him. And that was a sign. And this is the sign that from here will come out this nation, this holy nation, the Jewish people, that their zodiac sign is going to be the Li. Now, this means that the first 2 weeks that are in the month of Shabbat, when the spiritual shift for the Jewish people starts to go in a positive direction, happens to be also around a very famous holiday called Tu B'Shvat. What is Tu B'Shvat? Tu B'Shvat is the day where the sap comes up from the ground and goes into the tree and goes into the branches, and the branches or the trees start to give fruit. They start to bloom. The exact day of that happening is Tu B'Shvat. Now, ironically, just to throw another point in there about the Torah learning, Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on the day that he was born, which is Zayin Adar, okay? Which is 7 days from now, right? Now,
Wait.
we're in the month of Adar.
Yeah, but was it leap year?
We're not talking about leap year, not leap year. We're just going to say, to keep it simple, Zayin Adar.
Sorry.
Now, we know that Sefer Devarim, the last Sefer in the Chumash, it says Ve'ele HaDevarim. The first 2 words of that book is Ve'ele HaDevarim. So it says Ele HaDevarim. What's Ele HaDevarim? Aleph, Lamed, Hey. Aleph is 1. Lamed is 30. Hey is 5. Altogether is 36 days. That's the time that Moshe Rabbeinu took to write down the Torah. And then on Zayin Adar, he wrote 13 Torah scrolls, 1 for each tribe and 1 to put inside the ark, which means that if you take 36 days back from Zayin Adar is what? Is Rosh Chodesh Tevet, which means what? that there's a lot of Torah that came into the world when? There's a lot of abundance coming into the world when it comes to spirituality, in the month of Tevet. We see that all the Torah is coming, it was started to come from Moshe Rabbeinu in the month of Tevet. If we go back now to Tu B'Shvat, and we know that the trees begin to bloom on Tu B'Shvat, the 15th of Shvat, and the trees are when we look at the world, maybe I'll say it like this, when we start to look at the world, when we start to look at these months, we look into the spiritual energies that we want to tap into these months. So if you take a look at Tu B'Shvat, what do you see? You see trees starting to bloom. Now, the trees are becoming fruitful. The trees are in a state of growth. There's a pasuk in Sefer Devarim, in pasuk Yutet, that it says over there, Ki ha'adam etz hasadeh, because the person is the tree in the field. So in that particular pasuk, it was talking about when the Jewish people go to war, that there was a prohibition to cut down fruit-bearing trees, that they have to leave them alone and not chop them down. But from the words Ki ha'adam etz hasadeh, because a person is the tree in the field, the rabbis teach us, the Mefarshim tells us, just like a tree grows and blooms and gives fruit, similarly is the person supposed to grow, bloom, and give fruit. And what is that? When does it happen? Just like in Tu B'Shvat, just when the trees begin to bloom and start to give fruit, we look at the trees and say, this is our time to bloom and to give fruit. Why? Because the spiritual energy is now in our favor. So what do we see? In the month of Tu B'Shvat, this is the month of the Torah. This is the month where there's a lot of spiritual abundance. There's a lot of Moshe Rabbeinu was able to write all the Torah scrolls, or was able to write all the Sefer Devarim in that time. So because it's a time of growth, the rabbis tell us that a lot, then Yisachar also mentions it over here, a lot of Torah abundance comes down during this month. And a person should be very careful not only to learn, but also to pay attention to the Torah chidushim that they get, the nuances that they get. Oh, they read a pasuk. Oh, maybe I can, I can darshan it like this, or they read the parasha, or they hear a class, and all of a sudden things are starting to click and things are starting to connect. There's a huge spiritual abundance for Torah learning during the month of Shabbat. Now, that was just 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Everything we just discussed was what happened 2 weeks ago. And just so we start this journey, because remember, listen to this spiritual pocket, the spiritual envelope that we're in. It's the 2 weeks of Shvat, then it's Adar, then it's Nisan, then it's Iyar, then it's Sivan. We got a good 4.5 months of good spiritual energy. This is the time to grow. This is the time to make a big effort, to make a big push to grow spiritually. This is the time to try to grow in Avodat Hashem. And here we are, as Shvat exits, Adar enters. And when we say, Mishe nichnas Adar, Marbi besimcha. Why? What happened? What changed? What is the spiritual energy of today, of this month? So, this month, Masechet Ta'anit on the 29th page on the first side says, Adar debarim azaleh. Now, a lot of these concepts we learned in previous years. The reason why we're doing this class, it's a chizuk. You know, it's a chizuk. It's something that we know. Maybe we forgot. Maybe we're going to learn for the first time. But this is something that happens very rare. It's very rare. Every few years it happens. Not only that, this is also in the time, not only a leap year, but it's also in a sabbatical year, or in the year of Shemitah. So there's a lot of spiritual energies, layers and layers and layers and layers of spiritual energy. Also the Shovavim season is still here. We still got 2 weeks left. There are layers and layers of spiritual energies that are here, and we're trying to tap into it. So Chazal tell us in Masechet Ta'anit, Adar de Bari Mazaleh. It says that Adar is a healthy month. The luck of Adar is healthy, which means what? That this is the month where we have an auspicious time to be lucky. It says, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Bered Shmuel, Bar Shilat Mishmei Derav. It says just like what we do is we diminish our happiness, or we minimize in our happiness in the time of Av. But in Adar it's the complete opposite, because when Adar enters we increase our joy and happiness. Why? Because we said the Adar Bari Mazaleh. Adar is a month that has a healthy luck to it. It's so good that it continues to say, Amar Rav Papa, Hilekach Bar Yisrael, Deit Ledina Behad Enochi, Lishtamit Mineh Be'av, Derea Mazaleh. He says if somebody has some sort of a court case with a Gentile, he needs to push it off if it's during the month of Av. Velimtzi Navshe Be'adar, Debari Mazaleh. However, if he finds it in Adar, he should make the appointment or the court date during the month of Adar, because that's a month that we have luck. Go to court during those times. It's an auspicious month to go to court. It's an auspicious month to start new projects, to start new business ventures. A lot of good things are embedded in this month. That's why a lot of people actually wait for the month of Adar to make those phone calls, to send out those emails, to think of those ideas. Why? Because this is the month that we plant the seeds. As a matter of fact, there's another pasuk that says, there's another chazal that says, "V'amar Yochanan mishur Be'elazar beRabbi Shimon, harotzei shitkaymu nechasav." If you want to be successful financially, ita bahen Adar. He should start planting seeds for financial success in the month of Adar. Shene'emar adir b'marom Hashem. We get that from the pasuk in Tehillim, from the 93rd chapter of Adir b'marom Hashem. And it says over there, don't call it Adir, ela Adar. Also, since we spoke about zodiac signs, what is the zodiac sign of the month of Adar?
The fish.
It's Pisces, right? The fish. And what does it look like? It looks like two fish. It's one of those zodiac signs that has two. There's only a few zodiac signs that have a double imagery. Over here we have two fish. And a lot can be said about this, the astrological prowess of this month, but I'll just touch a few things because it's not the point of this class. We discussed it in previous classes. But what are the fish famous for? Fish are famous for to be reincarnations of righteous Jews. Meaning, if the righteous Jew needs to come back from some sort of a tikkun, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't put him into a dog or a cat or a cow or a tree or a fruit. He puts him into fish. Why? Because a fish are, first of all, samui mina'ayin. What's samui mina'ayin? Fish, they're underwater. We don't see them, right? And it says, Kol mi shenoad ba'adar, anybody who's born in the month of Adar, en ayin hara sholetet bo. The evil eye never touches that person.
Also for other
Aleph and Bet, of course, even more so. Bet is even more auspicious.
Right.
So this month, what we have in this month also, besides the people that are born in this month, because it has the fish who live under the water, this is a month that also we have extra protection from Ayin Hara. Extra protection from the evil eye this month. Okay? Also, there's the letter. Each month has a special letter. The letter of this month is what? Tzaddik. To show us also the fish and the tzaddikim that are under the water. And not only that, he says just like the fish are underwater, in the month of Adar, a lot of the miracles happen beneath. They're hidden. They're hidden. The hidden miracles during the month of Adar. When do we see open miracles? Open and revealed miracles? Nisan, the month that's right after Adar, that's open miracles. Why? Because Nisan, that's the time that Kadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Egypt. We saw live miracles, 10 plagues, splitting of the sea, live and alive. Nothing was hidden. So Adar, hidden miracles. Nisan, open miracles. So this month has the auspicious power for what? More protection of Ayin Hara, excellent luck, and also that we're have the ability to have hidden miracles that happen beneath the surface that we're not going to say, and then we're not going to be able to see. If we go to Bnei Sachar, that speaks about Adar, he has something incredible over here that I found. He says over here, Besoder Hazeh, he says in Megalei Amukot, the book Megalei Amukot, in Parashat Vayetchanan, 44th Ma'amar, he says that this month has something unique. This month, the month of Adar, Malach Shel Chodesh Adar, it has its own special angel. Shemo Avarchi Kel. He has a special angel called Avarchi Kel. I can't say the whole word of the angel, but you get the idea. Veyesh tachtav 25 malachim, kulam shemotehem morim letova. And he has 25 angels beneath him, that all of them have auspicious names for blessings. Which means what? That all of a sudden this month has also a special team of angels that are just there for blessings. Imagine a huge angel that is appointed for this month, and 25 angels beneath him. Shemotehem morim letova. ונראה לי המלאך הזה בגימטריה סדר. דבעדה התחילו ניסים נסתרים מלובשים בטבע, שהנהגה מסודרת, בשטף ובראשית. It says the reason why we have this special angel is because these are the angels that are going to help out with the hidden miracles. Why? Because if you take his name, the numerical value of his name equals Seder, which is 264. Avarchi Kel is 264. The word Seder, order, is 264. What is the word order? It's so important for us because the world was created in an order in the 6 days of creation. So we're looking for miracles through the standard order of creation. So this is the angel that's going to be able to do the miracles, the hidden miracles through the order of creation. Ones that are above, I guess it's above nature, those are different angels. He says, why? In Adar begin the hidden miracles. Melubashim beteva, that are hidden within nature. Which is the way that Hashem works with the order of the 6 days of creation. When things happen miraculously by way of nature. Which HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want to change the order of the 6 days of creation in order just for his children. So what does he do? He still creates the miracles. But which way? Hidden through nature. That's this month. That's this month.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why can't you say his name? He's supposedly a good angel.
Because there are names of angels that we don't mention, because if you mention their name, they come. And if they come, they're going to say, what did you call me for? And they, chas v'shalom, have the ability to hurt the person. There's only a few names of angels that we're able to say, like Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Uriel. There's some angels that we can actually say their names, right? But some angels that we don't. It's so strange, it's so funny. There's actual angels that if you say their name, and for the wrong reason, the person can die on the spot. Now, who's bigger than all the angels? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yet we say his name in vain, sometimes on brachot, sometimes by not saying the thing properly, sometimes people pray by the name of God. It's incredible how careful we have to become with the name of Hashem. It says in the Gemara that people would not, when they would go to court, and they tell, swear that you are innocent by the name of God. Name of God, I'd rather pay than say the name of God. But you're innocent. Doesn't matter. I'd rather pay, just not to say the name of God and get into that situation. Imagine.
Thank you.
Now, the zodiac sign for the month of Adar is Pisces, right? Which has 2 fish. Which also hints to the fact that this month is a double month. That there's times that this month has 2 months. Adar Aleph, Adar Bet. It's called a Shana Me'uberet, a leap year, a pregnant year, a year that has an extra month. So, do you know the reason why we have a leap year?
Because every few years they're missing 29 and a half something days.
Right, but what's the reason for that? So even if it's missing.
So they have to keep up with the sun years, so they have to kind of give an extra month every few years.
So you're almost there, but not there. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. The reason why we have a leap year, the reason why we add an extra month, is because there's a pasuk in the Torah that says, "Shamor et chodesh ha'aviv, v'asita pesach l'Adonai Elohecha, ki b'chodesh ha'aviv yotziach Adonai Elohecha mitzrayim laila." It says over there that you have to protect that the summer month, ha'aviv, spring, v'asita pesach l'Hashem Elokecha, that the holiday of Passover should be in the spring. Why? Because in the month of the spring, Hashem took you out of Egypt at night. In other words, what? We must celebrate Pesach, we must celebrate Passover in the spring. The only way we can do that is we have to bring it back a month, or in order for it to shift, so we keep it. Otherwise, we'll be celebrating Passover in the middle of winter. We'll be celebrating Passover in the middle of autumn, right? So in order to make sure that Pesach always lands on spring, because that is what the Torah commanded us, we add a leap year, okay? So it's not just for that. In order for not only Pesach, but for the festivals to retain their position, right? Chag HaAsif, Chag HaKatzir, the holiday of gathering, the holiday of reaping, those are all seasons. So in order for all those to stay within their seasons, we have to have the leap year. And also, like you said, that we have to enable the lunar calendar to maintain harmony with the solar cycle. So you had half of it, the other part was Pesach. So the way that it works is that within a 19-year cycle, every 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and 19th year, it becomes a leap year. So if you recall, the last leap year was 2019, right? About 3 years ago? Yeah, about 3 years ago we had a leap year. And now it's a leap year again, and then it's going to be a leap year in about 3 or 4 years from now as well. So again, we have the 3rd, the 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and 19th. 7 leap years in 19 years. In order to what? To bring back the spring. Bring back the spring, so we have Pesach. And a year that is a leap year, in Hebrew it's called Shana Me'uberet. Literally saying a pregnant year. It has an extra month. So this year is Shana Me'uberet, which means that Mishanichnas Adar Marbim Besimcha is doubled. It's twice. It's 60 days. This increased joy and increased luck is doubled up. Imagine all the things that we just said about the month of Adar. We get an extra, a double amount of that this particular year. That's incredible. 60 days of good luck.
We sure can use it.
Definitely. And any year that gets this 13th month added to it has a very unique spiritual power as well. Okay? Besides the fact that we just got 30 more days of hidden miracles, 30 more days of healthy luck, 30 more days of protection from the evil eye, 30 more days of financial success, 30 more days of being more successful when dealing with Gentiles, there's a special concept called Batel B'Shishim. What is Batel B'Shishim? Nullified by 60. It's a Torah principle. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're making a huge pot of chicken soup. Tons of vegetables and 2 whole chickens inside the soup. And that soup is now what? Meat, right? What happens if a glass of milk spills into it? Is it kosher or is it not kosher?
If it's more than 160, it's not. But if it's less, then it's...
Correct. So that's exactly the concept. Batel B'Shishim means that something is able to be nullified in a measurement of 60. So let's just say that you're doing a huge pot of chicken soup. And this 3-ounce cup of milk that fell into the chicken soup is actually only less than 1/60th. It's 1/60th of the liquid. Then you know what you could do with that soup? You can eat it. You could actually eat chicken soup that a glass of milk went into it if it's batel b'shishim. If it's less than 1/60th of the entire pot. So let's just say you go to a big kitchen, like a big soup kitchen for caterers, right? They have a huge pot, right? They have a huge pot, and a glass of milk spills into it. It's batel b'shishim. If you do it in your small pot at home, a 5-ounce cup is not batel b'shishim. It's probably, like a good, maybe a 20th or 30th% of that, right? So Chazal tell us. So this concept of batel b'shishim, Chazal tell us apply that concept to a year that is Shana Me'uberet, a year that is a leap year like this year, has a month that has 60 days, right? We have Adar that is 60 days. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe says, in a year blessed with a double month, a 60-day Adar, it says all undesirable parts of one's life, any cause for pain, sadness, discouragement, or dejection, are nullified by the transformative joy of Adar. In other words, if a person is able to stay happy for 60 days, they're able to nullify all their problems for the entire year. It becomes batel b'shishim. Only in this series it's possible. Batel b'shishim, if a person stays focused in the next 60 days to stay happy, to be in a state of joy, increase the joy. Anger comes not this month. Challenges comes not this month. The wife, the husband, the kids, work, doesn't matter. Not this month. It's like a 60-day challenge to be in joy. The Lubavitcher Rebbe says that by being in a state of joy for 60 days, batel b'shishim, all your troubles become nullified in 60 days. Imagine how many troubles do we deal with every single day? Financial, physical, mental, emotional, all the different things that people are struggling with, whether it's health issues, shlom bayit issues, raising children issues, happiness, sadness, or depression, addiction, so many things that people are dealing with. Comes to Lubavitcher Rebbe and says, I have a cure-all. Go and be happy for 60 days, where it itself is a bonus, and all your troubles become batel b'shishim because of the joy of those 2 months. Incredible. Incredible. So here we are, facing another spiritual challenge. If you notice, most of the classes that we do over here are always the 40-day challenge from Elul to Yom Kippur, right? The 60-day challenge of Batel B'Shishim on a leap year. It's great. It's great, right? The 48-hour challenge of Rosh Hashanah to be in a perfect state of mind in order to set up the entire year. Shabbat, the 26-hour challenge, the 25-hour challenge to do what? To be happy, to be with joy, not to get angry in order to set up the entire week. We constantly have all these challenges that we put ourselves through in order to yield the spiritual abundance that's available. The Lubavitcher Rebbe says, here's a 60-day challenge. Be happy for 60 days, batel b'shishim, all your problems become nullified. It's amazing that we have all these things available to us. And like we said, if you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, you can now say, hey, excuse me, for the next 2 months, I'm in joy mode, I'm in happy mode. Happy, happy, joy, joy, leave me alone, I don't want to get upset. Come to me in 2 months. Let me reschedule you. Why? Because I want to nullify all my problems.
Next 24 hours.
Say it again?
Next 24 hours, that's what we can handle. 24 hours.
Well, again,
60 days.
Yeah, you say today, tomorrow, but the whole 60-day period is the whole month of Adar Aleph and Adar Bet. So, a 60-day happiness challenge, what does it yield? A year filled with joy and no problems. Sign me up. Sign me up. Double the luck, double the happiness, double the opportunities to succeed, and no problems for the rest of the year. Just think about that. Just internalize that. Again, that's the beauty of learning Torah. You know how to get plugged into. You have no idea what these rabbis have done, how they filled us in to let us know, guys, wake up. There are spiritual energies that you can get tapped into. And for the next 60 days, you have a huge opportunity to double up on everything. And when you internalize that, and you wake up tomorrow and you stay focused on that, and you wake up the next day and you stay focused on that, and you wake up the next day and focus on that, in 60 days you're going to yield results. Your life can change. Your life will change. And when you're living, Baruch Hashem, a life with no problems, say, why? I did the 60-day challenge. Don't get me wrong, this is not for everybody. Everybody goes to climb Mount Everest. You know, there's 1,000 people at the bottom of the mountain. You know who reaches the top? A select few. Only a few make it to the top. Thousands start at the bottom, and at every summit, they lose a few, you lose a few. And there's only a few people that can put the flag on the top and say, I climbed Mount Everest. Similar to this. Not everybody's going to be able to be successful. And this doesn't come around every year. This comes around every leap year. So it's a good opportunity to take advantage of something that's available to us today. Not to mention, like I said, it's also a sabbatical year of Shemitah. And we're also in an extended period of the time of the Shovavim. Layers upon layers upon layers of spiritual abundance that's available to us. It all depends if you're plugged in. It's either you're falling asleep on your phone or, wasting your time, or you just understand what's going on and you do the work that's necessary to get there. Now this brings us full circle to the beginning of the class.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry?
Extended time for the Shovavim? Isn't that
Usually Shovavim is a 6-week period. It's an 8-week period on a leap year.
Oh, okay.
I'm so glad I came today.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, see?
I'm so glad I came.
So how did we start the lesson? Misha, 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 Nasadai. Mabi, 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 Besimcha, ay, 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 Misha, Nichnas, Adai, Mabi, Besimcha. So back to the question, why are we so filled with joy when the month of Adar comes? We found out a lot of, tons of information around it. But why are we happy in the month of Adar? Well, we said all the different things that we said. We should be very happy about this added luck, Shmiyah Ma'ayin Hara, all the different things that we can nullify. But there's something that you should know. The source for it is...
Joy is a vessel for all good.
Wow.
Exactly. And as a matter of fact, this is the next point over here. And we're going to see that. How do we see that? The source for Marbim Besimcha comes from Megillat Esther. That it says, HaChodesh, right? This month, Asher Nepach Lahem Miyagon Lesimcha. It's a month that got flipped over from a month of anguish to a month of joy and happiness. Remember, what was Adar supposed to be for the Jewish people in Persia? Death, total annihilation in one day. He wanted to kill all the Jews in one day. And the whole thing flipped over that what? We came out on top and went from Yagon, Lesimcha, from pain and anguish to joy and happiness. That's why this month might be Besimcha, because of what happened in Megillat Esther. However, something that we need to know, something that we must understand, that Simcha, joy and happiness, is not exclusive. It's not exclusive to this month. We constantly need to be in a state of joy. When we say Mamaitim B'Simcha in the month of Av, doesn't mean that we're not enjoying happiness in the month of Av. We just decrease a little bit. We're just a little bit less. We're in joy, but a little bit less joy. But constantly, the entire year, we must be enjoying happiness. Why? This is one pasuk in the Torah that maybe a lot of people don't know. In Sefer Devarim, there's a pasuk that says, during the 98 curses, it says in Parashat Ki Tisa, it says that after it enumerates the 98 curses, after it gives all the different crazy sicknesses and plagues and things that can come upon a person by not going in God's way, not going in the Torah way, and the pasuk that sums it up, wraps it all up in a bow, goes, Tachat Asher. Why would these curses come upon a person? The 98 curses will come upon a person because תחת אשר לא עבדת את השם אלוקיך בשמחה ובטוב לבב מרוב כל. Because you didn't worship Hashem, your God, with joy and with a good heart from all the goodness that He's given you. Our entire service of Hashem is hinged on joy. 98 curses will come on a person because he didn't serve Hashem, he didn't serve Hashem with joy and happiness. Imagine how many people serve Hashem sort of like blasé, bracha, tefillah, chagim, another Shabbat. Hashem says, I don't want that service. What, you do me a favor? If you're not doing it out of joy and happiness, it's worthless. The default setting to blessings is curses. If you're not blessed, the default of that is that there's a curse coming. Why? The Pasuk says, that you didn't worship God with joy and happiness, with a good heart from all the goodness that He's given to you. In other words, a person doesn't recognize God in his life. He's not overjoyed that he's Jewish and he's living a Torah life. Hashem says, you know what? A person that doesn't live life with happiness and joy, 98 curses. That's what it says in the Chumash. That's what it says in the Torah. It says Sefer Dvarim. So this whole thing of being besimcha, even though that we said in the month of Av, marbin besimcha, we increase our joy, but our default setting is joy all the time. Don't worry, be happy. That's the Jew. This whole thing of kvetching and complaining, that's a new thing. We've never been that. Jews have always been happy people with what Hashem has given them, because they understand that Hashem, everything that He does is for the best, for the good. Everything that He does is for the best thing and the best thing for you. So we accept everything that Hashem gives us with a smile and happiness. That's what Hashem wants. That's a real Jew. That's an emunah Jew. That's a Jew that understands what God and Torah and what Hashem has in store for him. When a person starts to complain and to say that he thinks it should be different, what are you doing? You're going to that default setting of curses. A person that complains, there's a plan B for that. A Jew should always be in happiness. And in the month of Av, increase the happiness. How many people are living their life not understanding that it's an integral part of practicing the religion to constantly be in joy? You have to be happy. So what is the secret ingredient to this month? What's the secret ingredient to this month? Simcha, right? To be happy. So let's see. I need to be happy. I want to laugh. I want to smile. I want to experience joy. What do? Do I turn on TV, put on Netflix, and do a marathon of comedians?
No.
Make me laugh? Do I go to the circus so everybody can see elephants turning on?
You daven.
You
daven.
Well, let's see. Do I do laughing yoga? What do I do? What do I do this month in order to be happy? Right? No, there is a thing where they actually sit on their feet and laugh all day long in order to experience joy and happiness. Is this what we're looking for? Is this how we're going to experience joy and happiness in the month of Av? How do you get marbin besimcha? How do you get an increased level of joy in the month of Adar? In other words, we're saying it, but how do we achieve it? Ask each person, what makes you happy? One person's going to tell you, I'm going to eat in a restaurant every single day. I'll have an amazing meal, make me happy. Another person will tell you, I like to watch comedies. Another person's going to tell you, I'm going to play sports. Is that what Hashem wants from us in Adar? What is the simcha that Hashem wants from us on this month? So the answer is that en simcha ela Torah. The only thing that gives a person joy at the end of the day is Torah. How do we know that? How do we know the Torah gives you joy? Prove it to me. Prove to me that Torah learning brings joy. Well, it's very simple. When somebody passes away, when a person is mourning someone who passed away, what are they prohibited to do? They're prohibited to learn Torah. When they're sitting on the floor mourning a relative, they are not allowed to learn Torah. Why not? Because Torah brings joy, and they're supposed to be mourning. They can't learn Torah because Torah makes you happy, and they need to be mourning, and that's why they're not allowed to learn Torah. What increases happiness? Torah learning. So what is it? So what do we have to do? Marbim b'simcha, marbim b'simcha, marbim b'torah. How do we increase our joy? We increase our Torah learning. This is something, again, we're spiritual people, right? We're not going to make decisions from what our body wants. We're going to make decisions for what the soul needs. And the soul will give the happiness and joy that our spirit needs, and the body will follow, because we're going to use the body to service the soul. And how do we do that? How do we marbim b'simcha? How do we increase in happiness? Marbim b'torah, we increase in Torah. So what does that mean? We add to our learning. So Baruch Hashem, you go to a Parsha class. Oh, what a simcha. Learning Parsha. So how do you increase it? You go to the lighthouse. Another class. Right? For those that are maybe on a higher level of learning, like some of the men that have the learn Gemara, increase it. Do Daf Yomi. You're able to go to your local synagogue for a class, great. You're able to listen to 2 halachot after praying in shul, great. You're able to watch a class on YouTube, great. You're able to learn a little bit something extra at night, Sha'ar Bitachon, Mishnayot, whatever it is, increase the learning. A little bit. Believe me, a little bit of Torah does its thing. You start to, you have 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. Increase your learning by 5 minutes. That 5 minutes will grow into 10 and 15 and 20, and will do its work. The Torah is amazing. The Torah is a growth mechanism. It's something that helps people grow, for good and for bad. But if you do for good, you'll see. A little bit of Torah, it's going to grow. So you need to add to your Torah learning. You can't learn, you're not a learner, you can't sit down, can't read books, ADD, ADHD, whatever all these terms are for the people that don't have an attention span to sit down and learn Torah for an extended period of time. No problem. There's a plan B for you. Do chesed. Go do acts of kindness. That's also, acts of kindness is like performing Torah. It's like it's like learning about acts of kindness and then going out there and performing acts of kindness. Performing chasadim, acts of kindness, is actually living out a Torah life. It's living out the Torah concept. So if you can do chesed, if you can do acts of kindness, help a friend, volunteer, maybe lend an ear for somebody that needs to hear, they have some problems and they need to vent or whatnot. That's chesed. That's increasing Torah. Give a hand to somebody, give tzedakah, you yourself be at tzedakah. There's many ways to increase your Torah. In other words, how do you increase the Torah? It's not always just opening up the book and learning, which is great, because when you do a class, when you open up a book, what do? You increase your understanding, you increase your knowledge, and knowledge is power. Look, an hour ago, you didn't know all this. You are going out there right now fully loaded with incredible Torah concepts. You are ready for the month of Adar. You are ready for the next 60 days. You are 100% more aware or woke than the next Jew next to you that didn't do a class, that doesn't understand the 60-day power of a leap year. And if you don't have the ability to learn in books or do classes, like I said, acts of kindness. And it's not always about the dollar. It's not about having money and giving somebody money. It's about giving yourself to somebody else. Help them out. They need to move. They need to talk. They need to learn. They need to do something. Sometimes just give a smile, to cheer up, to help, to make them laugh, to make them happy, to make them say, Baruch Hashem, whatever you need. That is increasing your Torah. So here we are in the month of Adar, day 1. Day 1.
Oh, it's today.
Today.
Wasn't today also Rosh Chodesh?
Yeah, day 1. Today was day 1. Now we are in the nighttime, day 2. So we are now plant the seed. What's the best thing that we can do? Plant the seed in Adar. Bari mazaleh shel Yisrael. Our luck is healthy this month. You ever had a business idea? You ever wanted to do something? Reach for the stars. Sit down. Write down your dreams. Write down your goals. Write down all the things that you want to be. And say, Hashem, I'm planting the seed for this. I'm going to make a phone call for this. I'm going to send an email for that. And I'm going to go try to meet that person and go to that meeting. Hashem says, plant that seed. Plant that seed. Plant that seed. This is the time for it. There's good luck with you starting things over here. And when you have that kavanah, Hashem says, oh, you're planting with Adar? Because imagine, when you just start something without tying the spirituality into it, okay, Hashem says, okay, so you depended on your know-how, you depended on your smarts, you depended on your knowledge, and you started a business, great. But when you start a business and say, Hashem, I'm starting it specifically on Adar. Specifically because the Gemara says that this is a healthy month for Am Yisrael. And because there is a special energy, special spiritual energy that's tied into it, then of course I want to take the physical world and tie it with the spiritual world and put it together and get the Sa'at the Shmaya, the heavenly help that I'm looking for in everything that I do. It's two different things. You can do the exact same action, but one thing is on your own, one thing you're involving God, and you're involving the Torah, and you're involving the spiritual energy that's available on that month. So when you plant a seed in Adar in this month, on the time that Bari Mazaresh Lized, when we say that the luck of the Jewish people is healthy, you're surely going to see returns on your investment. Surely. I'll give you a hint when. You want to know when you'll see? When are you going to see the fruits of the planting of the seed that you're going to do this month?
60 days from now?
A little bit more. In the month of Elul, in the time of Rosh Hashanah, in the time that we call HaMelech Ubasadeh. The king is in the field.
It's the new year.
Why is the king in the field? Why is the king in the field?
It's a new year.
Because you planted a seed in Adar, and he wants to go into the field to see, what did you plant? What did you plant in the month of Adar? The king is in the field to see what you planted. Did it give fruits? Are you a fruit-giving tree? Are the acts of kindness? Is the Torah learning? Are you teaching people? Are you drawing Torah and teaching others? Are you learning Torah and doing acts of kindness? Hashem wants to see, what seeds did you plant in Adar? Because when he comes in the season of Elul and Rosh Hashanah, that 40-day period of Amelech Ubasadeh, the king is in the field. He wants to see what you planted and the fruits. Why? Because Adam Etz HaSadeh. Person is the tree in the field. Adam Etz HaSadeh. He wants to come and see, are you a fruit-giving tree? Are you a person that gives fruits? Do you just take and take and take and take from the world and ask God, I want, I want, I want? Or are you someone that draws Torah into you and gives? Draws Torah and gives fruit. That's what Hashem is going to look for in the month of Elul.
So you have to wait till Elul in order to see what you're planting these 2 months?
No.
Okay.
Hashem is going to come and see what you did in the past 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Amelech Ubasadeh. You might see instant results. You might plant and jack the beanstalk.
Wow.
Immediately, who knows?
Wow.
There's a concept when we say, Potech et yadecha, עיני כל לך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם תאכלם בעיתו, פותח את ידיך ומסבר לך חרצון. In Asher Shvei Betecha, when we open up our hands, what does it say over there? What do the words mean? Well, it says over there in Asher Shvei Betecha something very, very interesting. It says, עיני כל לך יסברו. The eyes of all the Jewish people are going to turn to you. And you, ואתה נותן להם תאכלם, and you're going to give them their food, be'ito. What does be'ito mean? In the proper time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the person the food, the sustenance, the finances that he needs, be'ito. Every single person gets it at their proper time. Meaning it could be that when you plant the seed, it's instant. For another person, it's a month from now. Another person is 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year, 3 years, 5 years. We don't know. Hashem doesn't work on demand. But when we do that prayer for Parnasah, you open up the hands like Baruch Hu, you satiate all the ones that are have a willing to pray to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When is it? Beito. Beito means at the proper time. Each person gets their own beracha at the proper time. So, when we come back, in conclusion, when we talk about Mishenichnas Adar Mavim Besimcha, anyone who hasn't discovered that your happiness comes from a Torah life, if you don't know that, if it's something that it's a faraway concept for you, if this is foreign and strange to you, that your happiness and joy comes from a Torah life, then this is the month to start. This is actually the month to experiment. The month to try adding more Torah. Why? I'll just catch you up, ladies, very quickly. I'll do an hour and 30 seconds. Is that the month of Adar, the month that we've just started right now, which we are in a leap year, that is 60 days. The Gemara, the Chazal are all telling us that it's a month that Mazal Bari, it's a healthy luck for the Jewish people. It's a month where our luck is on a high. Not only are we lucky on this month, but we're protected from the evil eye. Not only are we protected from the evil eye, but this is a month that we're supposed to start new ventures, new businesses, new relationships, anything that's new, we do it in this month. Furthermore, we know that this month, if you are able to stay in a state of joy for the full 60 days, it has the power to nullify all your problems. From the Torah concept of Batel Beshishi. And we understand that the joy that people are looking for, as much as they search for all the things that are physical, whether it's money and food or arayot or whatever it is, eventually they understand that it's an empty feeling. And the only thing that really increases a person's happiness is Torah learning. And we prove that when a person mourns somebody's death, they're not allowed to learn Torah. Why aren't you allowed to learn Torah when somebody passes away? Because Torah brings joy to a person. And since Torah brings joy to a person, you can't learn Torah when a person is mourning. So this is the month. If you don't know that Torah brings joy to you, this is a good month to experiment. Why don't you give it a shot? Our rabbis tell us that this is the month. If you increase Torah, it increases joy. Do something. Do a 5-minute Torah class a day. Do an act of kindness. Try to do something to increase your Torah learning, your Torah experience, your Torah outreach for one time a day. For 60 days, and eventually you'll see that it will yield joy, happiness, with some other dividends. Again, so if you don't know that Torah is a source of happiness, you should start this month. You should increase the Torah this month, and if you are completely a novice to it, experiment. You got nothing to lose. It's 5 minutes. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you still learned and did something great. 60 days of Torah concepts, you're going to come out with something. And you also are doing it at a high probability of succeeding in both in your material and spiritual endeavors, because we are in an envelope of time. We're in a 4.5 month envelope of time where the luck of the Jewish people is on a high. We have from Tu B'Shvat and Adar and Nisan and Iyar and Sivan. These are all months that right now, and Adar Aleph and Adar Bet, this is the time that we have a very high probability for succeeding. So why not do it? Why not do it? What do you have to lose? And when you start having the real joy of a Jew living a Jewish life and a Torah life, which is something that is supposed to be the norm, but today it's so far-fetched. We have so many Jews living out more of a Goyish life than a Jewish life, that they are more connected to the Gentile lifestyle than a Jewish lifestyle. But when a Jew finally invests 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, half hour a day, hour a day into becoming more of a Jew, becoming more of a Torah Jew, learning a little bit more, something happens. You experience yourself, your soul starts to experience itself through a Jewish experience, through a Torah life experience. And all of a sudden you rediscover yourself and your true identity. And when you have that quote-unquote awakening, it's a different feeling, and that's what draws you in, because it's real. It's not something that dissipates. You wake up in the morning, the joy's still there. You wake up a week later, the happiness is still there. You wake up 2 months later, you're just building. It doesn't go away. Other experiences, you have a tremendous amount of time, crazy, what a joy this vacation, what a joy this night, what a joy this meal. You wake up the next day, it's gone. It's not like that with Torah life. It's not like that with these experiences. They stay with you. They stay, and you build on it, and you build on it, and you build on it, and all of a sudden, the Neshama said, finally, I'm getting the spiritual sustenance that I need. Thank you for investing in the month of Adar. Thank you for investing in the leap year that has 60 days. What a spiritual leap. What a springboard you can do for yourself. Finally, discover your true Jewish essence. And then you get aligned with your true self and your true purpose. And you see, when you start to get aligned with your true self, with your neshama and your being and your mind, body, and soul is all on the same path, you start to understand what's your purpose. And you start to go in that purpose. And now you're driven, and now you're happy, and now you're connected. All that is possible if you invest a little bit during this time of Adar Aleph and Adar Bet. So this is an enormous opportunity this month of Adar, double Adar. And I'll give you one last tip, only because we always discuss prayer. Prayer, the beauty of prayer. If you haven't discovered tefillah, it's one of the biggest tools to success in this world, in our time. And the more you learn on how to pray, the more you can connect to God, the more you can connect to yourself, the more you can manifest good things in your life. Tefillah has power. Know that. Prayer has power. If you don't know that, if you've not experienced it, great. It's another adventure to discover the power of prayer. Sometimes people, they hear it, it's like so generic. Oh, the power of prayer. Well, you know what? It's real. If you've experienced it and if you know how to do it, it works. And we can back it up with many personal stories and also other stories from other people, and we can teach it, and we've done a lot of classes on it. But one last thing in regards to prayer during this double month of Adar. What is so unique on it? So this might be a little bit high for you ladies, but you know what? It's okay. And for the people that are online, Baruch Hashem, maybe they are already there, but you can get it, you can understand it. And for anybody who's been taking our classes with us, already knows this concept, but this is something that we have to mention because it's unique to this time period and unique to the month of Adar. Okay, so on the 91st chapter of Tehillim, the last few Pesukim, it says,
Isn't that the prayer for protection?
no, it's the Shabbat Elyon. That's right. A lot of people say this verse for protection, but the last two Pesukim of Yoshev B'Seter Elyon, it says, Ki v'chashak v'afaletehu. When that person wants me, this is Hashem speaking, wants me and needs me, I will be there for him and I will rescue him. V'afaletehu, I will rescue him from his troubles. Asagevehu ki yada shemi, I will uplift him because he knows my name. What is God's name? Which name is this pasuk talking about? Furthermore, it says, Yike'eni, he'll call me out, ve'enehu, I'll answer him. I am with him in peril. I'm with him when he's in trouble. Achalitzehu, I will rescue him. V'achabedehu, and I will give him honor. Oh, you know what? I want this. I want this. Whatever this pasuk says, I want it for myself. I want to call out God's name, and I want him to rescue me. I want him to save me. I want him to uplift me. I want all this for me. This is incredible stuff. What is God's name? It's the 91st chapter of Tehillim, Psalms, okay? So, I want to activate these two Pesukim. How do I do that? How do I get these two Pesukim in my life? So it says, Asageveu ki yada shemi, I'm going to uplift him because he knows my name. So God has many names, okay? Many, many names. But we're going to deal only with one name right now. God's name for mercy, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei. God's famous name for kindness and benevolence, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay. It consists of 4 letters. If you take that 4-letter name of God and you boggle it, you change the order of the letters, you come up with 12 different combinations. Each combination corresponds to each month of the year. Perfect. 12 combinations, 12 months. Now, if you know the 4-letter combination to God's name of that month, that's the name that this is talking about. And if you could say that, if you know that name for that month, in the tefillah of Musaf of Rosh Chodesh, when you say that name or when you read that name, you are able to now ask Hashem, uplift me, save me, answer me, everything that's written in this pasuk. So where do we find that? So this particular Siddur has it. I always show it. I believe that Dov has it.
Yes. You actually supposed to say that pasuk or
No. You don't say the pasuk. You just look. You just scan.
the name of Hashem. Also, you just scan. You don't say it out loud.
Right. So here it is. Here's the chart. Right. So here's the chart. Right over here, you have 12 months. Over here, you have God's name for the month. And when you say Baruch Atah Hashem, when it comes to Hashem, what you do is instead of looking over here, you look at God's name for the month. Baruch Atah Hashem. Oh, Adar, this is what it is. Mekadesh Yisrael v'Rashi Chodashim, and then you close your eyes and just go for it. Hashem, you start talking. Thank you, Hashem, for everything that you've done for my life. Thank you, Hashem, for everything that you've given me. Thank you, Hashem, for thank you. Then pray for other people. Then pray for yourself. And then say, we have a more extended formula of what's the proper way to pray. But once you've done this, say, Hashem, I learned that chapter of Tehillim, the 91st chapter that says, call out my name during the month. Here, I called out your name, Hashem, and open up your heart. Let it go. The reason that everything that I said right now is nothing new. You already know this.
After you say the Baruch Atah
Hashem, that's over there where you scan God's name for the month.
right?
Now, the reason why, everything that I said now, we've said in previous classes, there's no chidush here, there's no nuance over here. The only difference over here is that we're in a leap year. What do you do in the 13th month? Which God's name do you use on the 13th month? There's only 12. It's a good question, right?
You use Adar.
Huh?
You use the one for Adar?
But what do you do on Adar Bet? That's the 13th month.
There's actually another one on the bottom.
On the second Adar, you read all of them. Every leap year, you actually have kavanah for every single one of them.
So why is it just called Adar then?
What do you mean? No, it's Adar Aleph, Adar Bet.
Yeah,
Adar 1, Adar 2. So this is the thing that I wanted to point out. So like that, remember that next month when you pray and you use this chart and you call out for God's name on the on Adar Bet, it says all of them. I want to thank you for being here, for learning this with me, and that you have increased joy in the month of Adar. שיתו ליבכם לחילה, פסגו ומתן למטה סתרו דו אחרון.